believes 121 out of 476 meteorological stations in Russia. 40% of Russian territory wasn't even included in global temperature calculations, okay, for some other reasons other than lack of stations or lack of observations. Maybe because these stations don't give us the data that the scientists want. The data of the stations not included often showed no substantial warming in the late 20th century.
So let's talk again very briefly about how science works. If someone is disproven using appropriate evidence through the discourse of science, they have to rescind that paper. Whatever they published in has to be rescinded. And perhaps there's a paper out there that has tampered with evidence that would be rescinded. And then science would move on. The evidence gathered would move on. Yet I don't know of any substantial scientific evidence that deals with climate change that has been rescinded in recent times. Certainly we have had to make adjustments along the way as we learn about more evidence and adjust how we model our global working world and all the unique variables that come to play in this. So, is it refutable? Can we bring up data that says it's been rescinded? That's really important. There's a lack of credibility when you use words that are not peer-reviewed. Okay? And I jokingly was talking about Wikipedia. But the reality is, if you're a scientist and you are credible, the words that come out of your mouth should be published in a peer-reviewed journal. Period. So be wary of skeptics that are doing the exact opposite of that. Be wary of the online websites that you can have wonderful, wonderful, wild views that are not backed through the discourse that takes place with real science. Okay? So let's talk a little bit about carbon dioxide and how it works. It is a greenhouse gas. As our climate is seeing more and more carbon dioxide in our atmosphere, that's carbon-13, which differs from the natural carbon that's entering our atmosphere. We are actually seeing a thermal expansion of our atmosphere. Our atmosphere is growing in size, but interestingly enough, it's only the troposphere, the area that we're in right now, that is expanding upwards. It is expanding upwards because it is heating from the additional quantities of carbon dioxide that are being put into our atmosphere that no one disputes create warming, because they are in fact a greenhouse gas. That's what greenhouse gases do. Okay? And if we want to talk about cold countries that have a stake in the game in trying to figure out a solution to climate change, Mr. Gutt has mentioned a few. Right? They have boreal forests that live in permafrost. And as humans can maybe minusculely adjust our temperature, that permafrost begins to melt. And under that permafrost, blocked, right, not allowing oxygen to get to this for years and years and years, is a bed of methane.
Oh, 3 minutes.
And that methane is also a greenhouse gas, and it's being released.
You have a question? No? All right. The political action group posing as the scientific community, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, claims that the debate is over. Real scientists know that the debate's never over. I mean, UAP kids consider, when Isaac Newton published his findings, the debate was over. And if that was the case, then Einstein would have never been able to publish his, because the debate was over. Okay? The debate is never over. The IPCC is a small collection of politicians and bought-off scientists. It's Lysenko all over again. Okay, these scientists produce the results that the government wants. Human-made CO2 constitutes less than 0.00022% of the total naturally emitted from the mantle of the earth. Okay? I'm not denying that carbon's increasing. It is. Okay? But again, to think that we okay, are affecting the Earth in a way that's going to lead to catastrophic